Incredible. 6,000 English archers versus 36,000 French knights. Agincourt's medieval miracle. Imagine standing knee-deep in mud, your sword shaking in your hand. Against you stands an army of 36,000 French knights, armored and mounted. Now picture stepping forward with only 6,000 English archers and men at arms, their bows trained, their hearts steady. This was Agincourt, a battlefield miracle on the 25th of October 1415, where ordinary English soldiers faced impossible odds. King Henry V chose a narrow, muddy field for a reason. His archers' longbows would rain death upon charging knights trapped by the terrain. What happened next? A storm of arrows, chaos in mud, heroic sacrifice changed medieval warfare forever. In just a few minutes, you'll learn the horror, the courage, and the strategy behind what was hailed as a medieval miracle. Stick with me for stories of suspense, triumph, and tragedy that echo through history. And if you're as hooked as I am, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to join our journey into the heart of heroism. Chapter 1. Mud, Stakes, and Strategy. How do you trap an army of knights? With mud, stakes, and cunning moves. It was St. Crispin's Day, 1415. Henry V's army had already survived disease and low supplies. He needed every advantage. The rain-soaked field at Agincourt offered just that. Henry ordered his men archers and men-at-arms to prepare. Sharpened wooden stakes planted deep into the mud, angled toward the enemy. These weren't random traps. Under the looming forest, the field-narrowed knights would funnel into archery fire. English foot soldiers lined up shoulder to shoulder, men of kings and peasants united. Archers on both flanks would release arrow storms into any knight foolish enough to charge. The French, confident and heavy, were walking into a death zone. Henry knew standard cavalry tactics wouldn't work here. He chose terrain to destroy their strengths. As dawn broke, French commanders laughed at the small force. They ignored warnings from experienced leaders like Marshal Boucicaut, who warned that mud would destroy cavalry charges. The English set up under a canopy of trees, muddy trenches behind them. Stakes strong, bows ready, hope burning. And that's how a king turned a battlefield into an arrow corridor with simple tools and bold strategy. Chapter 2. The Deadly Storm of Arrows. When the French charged, they were met with a forest of arrows, turning their cavalry into chaos and their knights into sitting ducks. A sky dark with death. As the French advanced across the rain-soaked field on the 25th of October 1415, they lumbered through bone-deep mud, their heavy armor weighing them down. English archers, guided by Sir Thomas Erpingham, unleashed a torrent of arrows. The sky darkened, and French horses collapsed, uncomfortably armored and overwhelmed by the cold stream of projectiles. Stakes that changed the battle. But the English weren't just stationary targets. They prepared the battlefield itself. They planted sharpened stakes, angled against cavalry, which trapped French knights as they charged. Mud and stakes handcuffed the French, forcing them deeper into the arrow storm. A trap Henry and Erpingham laid with chilling precision. French cavalry's collapse. The French lost momentum fast. Cavalry formations broke apart in the mud, and horses, hit by arrows, collapsed into piles of armor and bodies. The archers, unhampered by armor, stayed nimble, firing with deadly accuracy until the French lines shredded and straggled. From bows to battle axes, when arrows ran low, archers dropped their bows and grabbed axes, mallets, and swords. The battlefield shifted muddy terrain, favored the lighter-footed English. Hand-to-hand brutal combat ensued, but with troops dragged down by mud and weight, the English prevailed again and again. Chapter 3. Death in the Mud. Imagine knights suffocating in their own armor, trampled beneath the weight of chaos. This is the brutal reality of Agincourt's heart. From volley to melee hell. As the French cavalry faltered in the mud, many of their armored horses collapsed or froze in agony. The English archers moved in, axes and mallets in hand, turning a shower of death arrows into hand-to-hand slaughter. Crushed by chaos, historical accounts describe French knights so tightly packed that they couldn't swing their swords. They walked. These crowded bodies were trapped in mud and armor, suffocating as they fell. Many knights died standing, struck down by panic as much as by steel. Henry's frontline courage. King Henry V plunged into the melee to rescue his injured brother. He faced axe blows and even lost part of his crown, but stayed fighting near the front lines. His presence bolstered the courage of his men amid the horror. Medieval miracle or massacre? Within about 3 hours, the small English army annihilated a vastly larger French force, including nobles, knights, and even horses. Chapter 4. Heroic sacrifice and brutal aftermath. Imagine tens of thousands of enemy knights, mud up to their thighs, collapsing, and you standing firm, your king at your side, and the horror that follows. Sacrifice in action. King Henry V didn't stay behind. He dove into the fray to shield his injured brother, Humphrey, Duke of Gloucester, facing a deadly axe. In the chaos, an enemy knight chipped Henry's crown, a violent reminder he was bleeding alongside his men. That shock of violence intensified the English morale man's bravery, mirrored in each archer and foot soldier's eyes. From bows to body bags, the slaughter ended fast. Only about 600 English died, yet nearly 6,000 French knights lay dead, with over 3,000 captured, including nobles. The ground was littered with bodies, weapons locked in mud, and fallen horses' knights crushed alive in their armor. The cost of victory was heavy. Charles d'Albret, among other leaders, perished. Nearly every branch of French nobility was decimated. Medical miracle in battle. One of Henry's archers was so grievously wounded that the arrowhead pierced near his eye. Royal surgeon John Bradmore invented a unique tool, honey to clean the wound, and a screw-like instrument to extract the arrow without damage. This medical breakthrough not only saved a soldier's life, but showed that courage extended beyond battlefield weapons. If you're amazed by Henry's courage, like now, subscribe for more epic medieval stories, and comment. Did the medical miracle or heroic sacrifice move you most? Chapter 5. Aftermath and Enduring Legacy. Agincourt wasn't just a battle. It was a turning point in warfare and history. Here's how 6,000 English archers reshaped the future. A stunning victory. On the 25th of October 1415, against overwhelming odds, the English claimed a decisive win. Around 600 of their men fell, but an estimated 6,000 French were killed, and 700 to 2,200 captured, including nobles and knights. This victory shattered the French military's aura and catapulted King Henry V to legendary status. Democratizing warfare. Agincourt proved that longbowmen, often commoners, could defeat elite cavalry. It was a democratic shift. Skill, discipline, and terrain trumped wealth and status. The battle signaled the broader shift. Infantry could now stand against and beat armored knights. Tactical revolution. Henry's use of terrain, stakes, and longbowmen revolutionized medieval warfare. Agincourt marked the beginning of a new era in which archery and infantry formations increasingly dictated the outcomes, overshadowing the influence of knights and cavalry. Medical innovation. The famous arrow extraction from Prince Henry's face performed using honey, probes, and a custom screw-tong device by surgeon John Bradmore, not only life-saving, but medical pioneer work. What Agincourt means today. Agincourt taught that leadership, innovation, and unity can overcome overwhelming force, a lesson echoed in military sciences today. The longbow became a symbol of cultural pride and strategic insight long beyond its era. If you were moved by the courage, innovation, or sacrifice at Agincourt, like to honor their legacy. Subscribe for more epic history and comment below. Which part strategy, heroism, or medical miracle struck you most? Chapter 6. Why Agincourt Still Matters Today. What happened in muddy chaos at Agincourt isn't just ancient lore. It transformed warfare forever and left lessons valuable, incluso today. Strategy over strength. At Agincourt, Henry V showed that clever use of terrain, stakes, and longbowmen could beat an overwhelming force. Previously, medieval battles favored knights and cavalry, but here, infantry and archers carried the day. This shift helped redefine battlefield tactics, paving the way for modern military thinking about adaptability over brute strength. Rise of the common soldier. The longbowmen, ordinary English and Welsh commoners, were the real heroes. At Agincourt, they made up nearly 80% of Henry's army and proved that ordinary fighters could hold and defeat elite knights. Their victory boosted the status of infantry worldwide and influenced battlefield roles in future wars. Medical innovation saves a king. A few years before, young Prince Henry nearly died from an eye injury at Shrewsbury, but surgeon John Bradmore invented a screw-like tool to remove the arrowhead, cleaned the wound with honey and wine, and saved his life. That medical triumph ensured Henry lived to win Agincourt and shaped early surgical practices. Legacy of St. Crispin's Day. Henry's speech before battle. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, became legendary, showing how leadership and morale can inspire greatness under extreme pressure. That moment of unity still inspires, from military leadership courses to sports teams and corporate training. Lessons learned from the battle. Adapt using what you have, like Henry did with stakes and mud. Empower the everyday person. Commoners can deliver extraordinary results. Innovation saves lives, in both battle and medicine. Leadership ignites courage. Unity arises when people believe in a shared cause. When the odds loom large, Agincourt reminds us, planning, courage, innovation, and unity can change everything. If Agincourt's lessons spoke to you, like this video in honor of courage and clever thinking. Subscribe for more real-world history stories. And comment, which lesson will guide you when you're outnumbered next? Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Stay bold, stay strategic, and remember, no matter how steep the odds, unity and courage win the day.